Okay, in this video we are going to deal with the next candidate in the list, that is non-metals. The name itself gives us the idea that they are completely opposite of metals. That's why this suffix you can search, this prefix you can see, non. So they have complete they have the features completely opposite to metals. Okay. So metals are good conductor of electricity, they are not bad conduct they are bad conductors of electricity. Metals are good conductor of heat, they are bad conductors of heat. Metals are generally solids, they are not solids generally, they are gases and liquids generally. Okay. Metals have luster, they don't have luster apart from some. Okay, they have exceptions as well. Okay, now let us talk about some basic features of non-metals. So non-metals, as I said you, that they have features just opposite to metals. Metals are lustrous, they're shiny. They are not shiny, they're dull looking. They don't shine, they don't look dull looking. Exception is there, that is graphite. Graphite is an exception. And where will you find graphite, my dear students? You will find graphite in pencils. The most common source for finding graphite is pencils. And you know well that pencils, the lead of the pencil, that is graphite. The lead, the grayish color lead, that is lustrous, that is a non-metal. Okay, and you will get astonished to know that graphite is the only non-metal that shines and it's a good conductor of electricity. So you can use that graphite, that lead of the pencil, to pass electricity as well. And we did an experiment in the science exhibition as well. Some students, they made a model and to prove that graphite conducts electricity. Okay, by the way, so they are dull looking, but majority of the non-metals, we are talking about the majority, not the exception. Okay, because exception is there everywhere. So they are dull looking, they are brittle in solid state. They are brittle in solid state. So although they are not found in solid state, majority of them are either gases or liquids. Okay, but if we get some non-metals in the solid state, they are brittle in nature. Brittle means very fragile or weak. Okay, very weak, not strong. Okay, it breaks easily. They're bad conductor of electricity in heat. Bad conductors of electricity Okay, bad conductors of heat and electricity. The only exception is graphite. It conducts electricity and it's lustrous in nature. Okay. So can you give some examples of non-metals? Yes, there are many examples of non-metals. The gas without which we can't survive is a non-metal, that's oxygen. And you know what is the state of oxygen? Gaseous. The gas which is present in abundance in air, that is the majority of air is nitrogen, 78%. That's a non-metal. Okay. Carbon, the most important element present everywhere in your body, everywhere you will find carbon. That's a non-metal. Okay, and majority of coal is carbon. So that's why I said that all living beings and everything you find contains some part of carbon. The most widely available element in the world, everywhere you will find carbon. Okay, everywhere, in some way. Okay, carbon is there. Although you will not find carbon in the original state there, but somehow in some form, it will be mixed, it will be available there, carbon. sulfur. So these are some examples of non-metals. Okay. Now the next candidate in the list of elements is metalloids. Metalloids. Metalloids are elements that show the features of metals as well as non-metals. What do I mean by this? I mean that metalloids have the features of metals as well as non-metals. That is, they share the features of metals and non-metals. Sometimes they behave like metals, and sometimes they behave like non-metals. So they are in between metals and non-metals. And examples, and they're very important for the electronic industry. You know, electronic industry, the very mobile phone which we are using for studying and learning, the internet, everything, the electronics in the electronics industry will collapse without metalloids, because electronics is computers and all other electronic gadgets and devices, they are made up of these metalloids. Okay, silicon, germanium, and all of silicon is the most important metalloid which is used in the electronic industry. Okay. What are the examples of metalloids? Silicon, germanium, gallium, etc., arsenic, etc. Okay, silicon is the most important and most famous one, and that's why the electronic industry is also known as the silicon industry as well. Okay. Okay, the next candidate in the list is noble gases. They are also known as inert gases. Okay. Why they are known as inert gases? But because they don't react with other elements. So they are inert in nature. They don't react with other elements, and that's why they are noble. Okay, my dear students, a very important thing which I would like to share with you, that is, in the first chapter, probably I showed you this one. This is the periodic table. Okay, this periodic table is a chart which gives you all the elements, and which lists all the elements in a particular way, which you will learn in higher classes. In class 10 and 9 you will learn this as a chapter. Okay, periodic table. Okay, so you can see that this periodic table contains all the elements, 118 elements, and they are being classified into metals, non-metals, metalloids, and noble gases. So what I am trying to show you is that this last column, you can see this is the last column. Okay, and this is colored as green: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, and oganesson. This last column is the column of the noble gases, the inert gases. Okay, and they are inert in nature. They don't react. They are gases and they don't react with other elements. That's why they are inert in nature. Okay, so they are also non-metals, but they are a special kind of non-metals, and they are inert gases. Okay, example: helium, used in weather balloons; neon, argon, xenon, radon, etc. Okay, used in different colored tube lights. I hope that you have seen different colored tube lights, like the red colored tube light, the green colored tube light. So why they have colors? Okay, why they have different colors? Because they contain different gases like neon, argon, xenon. Okay, that's why they are different colors. Hope you understood. So this is the classification of elements, and I hope that you have understood what are the special features of metals, non-metals. How can you understand a particular substance to be a metal, non-metal, metalloid, and noble gases. So I gave you a brief idea about that. In higher classes you will go in depth about these topics, inshallah. Now in the next video I will be making you understand the representation of elements, that is the symbols. Okay, that is how to represent different elements in chemistry, and what does the symbol exactly mean. Okay, what are the rules which we have to follow to designate an element with an abbreviation.